World War I was a war on a scale never before seen or imagined. More than 65 million men took up arms between 1914 and 1918. 10 million died in battle. The wounds permanently marked the bodies and minds of some 20 million men. Nine decades later, the remaining few who took part gather at the Menin Gate, part of the old walls of Ypres in Belgium. They survived and have never forgotten those who did not.
Many of the men who suffered the worst of the dangers and hardships and terrible experiences, they never got home, did they? Their bones are still on the battlefields in many cases.
The millions who died in this war became statistics to future historians. But on the battlefield, those men were your friends, and they were all that mattered. The men in your trench, the men on your gun crew. World War I was truly a world war, fought from the shores of America to the shores of Asia. It was a clash of great empires, destroying the old and ushering in a new world order. Dynasties were shattered, a royal family murdered and replaced by revolutionary terror. It was a war that changed the nature of war itself. A dreaded new expression emerged, going over the top.
If any man tells you he went over the top and he wasn't scared, he's a damn liar.
The landscape fell victim to the brutality of the war.
Not a tree stands. Not a square foot of surface has escaped mutilation. There is nothing but the mud and the gaping shell holes. And in the bottom of many, the bodies of the dead.
There were fierce weapons, massive mines. The most intense artillery barrages ever seen on the battlefield.
I marvel myself sometimes how human nerves can stand the strain of our existence. Day after day, night after night, hour after hour, a heavy shell falling every few minutes within a few yards of you, half stunning you with the crash of the explosion.
The horror wasn't simply on the Western Front. To the east, Russian soldiers, killed in the millions, were the first to question the point of it all.
What are we doing in this war? Several hundred men have already passed through my platoon alone, and at least one half of them have ended up on the fields of battle, either killed or wounded. What will they get at the end of the war?
The discontent fueled the conditions for a revolution that shook the world.
This is no longer a capital. It is a cesspit. No one works. The streets are filthy. There are piles of stinking rubbish in the courtyards. It hurts me to say how bad things have become.
A new theater of war emerged. The air, every bit as deadly as the trenches below.
People were being killed every day. My best friend was there one evening, and he wasn't there the next day at lunch. You were alone. You fought alone and died alone.
I kissed my mother. I cleared everything right up, and I said, "Goodbye, Mum. I don't think I shall ever see you again."
There were dazzling technological innovations. Planes took off from platforms on a ship's guns. The aircraft carrier was introduced.
The first thing we had to do was to learn to fly on and off the foredeck. I remember the captain said, "You may as well take a revolver and blow your brains out."
They were huge battleships, but curiously, just one full-scale clash of fleets. Instead, the Germans took the battle beneath the water's surface. A stealthy new weapon, the submarine, or U-boat, was used for the first time on a large scale to a horrifying end. The cost of human life is still staggering today. Ypres, Verdun, the Somme, Passchendaele. Those who fought in these places witnessed suffering unique to this new warfare.
We came across this Cornish man. He was ripped from his shoulder to his waist with shrapnel. His inside was on the ground at the side of him in a pool of blood. And as we got to him, he said, "Shoot me." Before we could shoot him, 30 seconds, he was dead. And the last word he uttered was "mother." And that haunted me all my life, mother.
Finally, in November 1918, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns fell silent.
Everything stopped, and there was what I can only call as a deadly hush over everything. And we all stopped, looked at one another, because we suddenly realized that we had no objective, nothing whatever to look forward to do.
By the end, mankind had undergone the most devastating experience in human history. And yet one individual decision could change a life.
As that German came towards me, and I can't kill him, I mustn't kill him. I can remember when I joined the army, I swore I would serve my king and country. And by some means or another, it flashed in my mind when Moses came down off Mount Sinai, the sixth commandment he brought down, "Thou shalt not kill." And I can't kill him. I had about 5 seconds to make my mind up. I shot him above the ankle and above the knee. I brought him down. I didn't kill him.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. And I very often wonder whether the sacrifices that we made are worthwhile. That is, have the years condemned us?
How did it ever come to this? A global war that grew to consume millions of lives, its roots attached to an assassin's bullet that launched a new world order.